In this short series about goal setting, I mentioned the idea that readers feel involved with stories if they understand character motivations. So, character motivations are important in stories, and if we are all characters in our own stories, is it a good idea to understand the motivations behind our own goals? I think goal setting works really well for writers because we are uniquely placed to see ourselves as the heroes of our own journeys. In our case, a writing journey, a journey perhaps to writing a better book. In a character's journey, as a writer, you will plot external goals, fight the dragon on the high tower, and you will set some internal goals. First, overcome a fear of heights. You will dream up all sorts of things they will need to master and overcome before reaching their goal. You will maybe introduce a nice few character flaws that will be holding them back. So if you're the hero of your own story, do you know where you want to be in the final chapter? What are the stakes and the rewards? Is it a realistic time frame that you've set? And what will you need to overcome? What obstacles lie ahead? Any character flaws? What about internal struggles? What's the reason for you to set out on this journey? Here are some reasons for being on a writing journey that people have shared with me. See if any of this sounds like you. Some people say they simply enjoy writing. There is something about the process that's enjoyable and satisfying. Maybe they like to find a quiet time for themselves. Some may find something cathartic or even mindful about expressing thoughts in a written format of their choice. Some find satisfaction in triumphantly finding a way out of a knotty plot hole. A lot of writers gain satisfaction out of creating fictional worlds, daydreaming and inventing. It's a channel for creativity, much like gardening or painting or playing the piano. These are all examples of inner motivation. You are only trying to please yourself. I've certainly met writers who really don't seem to enjoy the process of writing very much. They're probably motivated by different things. There is plenty not to like. Writing is basically where you are on your own, inside your head, staring at a computer screen, sitting down for hour upon hour, trying to make the thoughts in your head anywhere near as good on paper as they are in your imagination. Yep, it's pretty tough to keep going sometimes. What else motivates people? For some, it seems to be about mastering new skills. Continually improving yourself encourages some people to try something different, find something they like, and then they want to get good at it. Many people will attend courses or join writing groups to find ways of improving their writing. Meeting other writers is fun. Even completing a task can be its own reward. Proving to yourself that you can do it gives a great sense of achievement. That can give you a reason to keep going. Others say they are more motivated by a sense of failure, a feeling of letting yourself down if you do not finish that draft. Is this motivating you? If this was a character you were writing about, how might you use this knowledge to help them reach their goal? Motivations for the hero of a story should be external and internal, and your motivations to write will probably be a mixture too. An example of an external reward might be putting effort into something where the end goal is a financial reward. So maybe you have a deadline to write a short story, knowing you won't get paid unless you deliver. I can understand how that might motivate you. Maybe you believe you have mastered a skill, but your goal is now to get the view of an expert to confirm it. Maybe your goal this year is to find a publisher who loves your books. Recognition, validation, or even fame can be drivers to keep you moving towards that goal. Some writers are driven by visualising their book launches or being invited to speak on the literary circuit and the queues for the book signings. These are quite different motivations for writing than the self-satisfaction of learning how to nail setting up a good plot twist or how to write really great characters. One thing that motivates me is I love literature. I feel stories and books are important. Books are central to my world. Reading is such a huge part of my life. I've always admired people who are behind it all, bringing me the enjoyment of their stories. It felt a natural step for me, being a reader, wanting to see if I could write a book and being able to add my own voice to the cultural landscape of books, which is a huge motivator for me and an ongoing reward. I love getting messages from readers who tell me how much they've enjoyed reading my books and what this has meant to them. Writing a book takes a long time. Finding someone to publish that book in many cases takes even longer, and it can be hard to keep going. Writing is a long-term project. Success can happen suddenly or after decades, depending on what your goal is. Success can happen a long time after you first get published. Having a lot of external motivations can be tricky. The trouble with them is that they are largely out of your control. And this is why I examine my own goals. I don't get lots of reviews or huge sales from my books. That's not what drives me to keep going. I think my two big goals are to make sure I keep finding the joy in writing. This year, I always try to plan that I will write a book that's better than the one I wrote last year. If you are struggling to achieve your writing goals, sometimes it may be that your goals might need a rethink. How many of your goals are external and therefore outside of your control? Maybe sometimes you need to re-examine, what does success look like for you? Could you rewrite your goals to include more internal motivations and more stepping stones, maybe to help plot your way forward so you can see progress? You are in a great position to plot your own writing journey and use this writing knowledge to be a recipe for great success.